Well, such a powerful man, not only in the then governing NDC, but also controlled one of the nation's biggest foreign exchange earners as CEO of COCOBOD. Dr. Opuni is today the subject of a charge of willfully causing financial loss to the state. His family, supporters and the NDC party have accused the government of witch hunting. But that's not stopping the Attorney General. She's pressing on with the case, and today Dr. Opuni and businessman Seidu Agongo have appeared before an Accra High Court to respond to those 27 counts of causing financial loss to the state. Well, there was heavy security at the courts as hundreds of supporters were bussed to the court premises in solidarity with the immediate past chief executive. There were also some big-name personalities who were in the courtroom to offer their support. We'll get details of the event in the courtroom. But first, here is Komla Adom with a wrap-up event outside the courtroom.
Scores of individuals. A bus just came and then offloaded hundreds of individuals who are currently making their way on the left side of the law complex of the entrance where we stand at the moment. And it is at the moment unclear what the identities of these individuals are. They are not wielding or they are not wearing any party colors, but I see them numbering over 100. And they are walking and marching. Actually, they've been directed by the police to march towards the opposite side of the entrance of the law complex. And young men, young women, and I've heard some of them shout that they are here for judgment. I do not know exactly what judgment they say they are here for. But that's the situation here at the law complex, directly opposite the law complex, where scores of individuals who were just brought in by a bus have been told by the police to use the other side, the other end of the entrance of the law complex, and they are moving towards the entrance. I will be trying to speak to a few of them to find out what it is they are here to do exactly. And once I get them, we will speak to a few of them to pick their thoughts on why exactly they are here. I can see the police also bracing up, making their way towards the center of the median, actually. They're making their way towards the median. Joined by some of them briefly, I'll find out from them.
Mukubani eba duoshia wana glass and courts and oago bi o male fans
na money Kenya ba benye mahale fans
over on pa ko ba bi
me onu kwa ejino
abenye wo yin so abenye le tegbe
shinje party nini
over arabia ke endi so npa ko
okay no na Kenya fanya ba
over
ni bohu ingbe anabo ye na chebo akeshin oba no ba fans
over na Jamestown na about na chewo ka jeje
wonyenye
ti esani meni ko ba ameto agelekin loko si ameke wo no go ameke wo ba no wo ba ni wo ba appreciate more.
Okay. I just spoke to 3 of them. They tell me that they were bussed here by some party leaders of the NDC. They do not know exactly why, but they were just told that they were coming to hail one of their members who is suspected to be in court in a short while. So that's why they are here. The police are actually shepherding them a few meters away from the court complex, the entrance of the court complex. So that's the situation here at the moment. I'm sure many more people will be joining us because we are told that some 50 buses are coming. And so as and when these make their way here, we will bring them to you live here on your most reliable news source, JoyNews.
All right, so that is Komla Adom there earlier with some of the people who had been bussed there. And you heard him ask them why they were there. They had no idea what was happening. All they know was that they were standing somewhere around Jamestown roundabout and they were called in to give someone funds in their words. Well, we'll be taking you to the courtroom. But first, let's remind you of the charges and some of the details of those 27 charges that have been brought against Dr. Opuni. Now, that's Dr. Opuni. He's the former CEO of the Ghana COCOBOD. He's also been charged alongside Seidu Agongo, who is CEO of the Agriculture Company Limited. Now, Agriculture Company Limited is the company engaged in supply of fertilizers. And a lot more details coming up. So So both of the two have been, I beg your pardon, well, both of the men have been slapped with 25 counts, ranging from charges of abetment of crime, namely defrauding by false pretense, defrauding by false pretense, willfully causing financial loss to the state, contravention of Public Procurement Act, corruption of public officer, money laundering, manufacturing of fertilizer without registration, selling misbranded fertilizer, and the list goes on and on. Here's some more particulars of the offense as I read them to you. Mr. Saidu Agongo, who is with the Agriculture Ghana Limited, between November 2014 in Accra, with intent to defraud Ghana COCOBOD, obtained the consent of the COCOBOD to part with a sum of 43,120,000 by representing to COCOBOD that he, Saidu Agongo, will supply Letovit foliar fertilizer from Germany for application by farmers for the 2013-2014 cocoa season, a representation he knew or he's been charged to have known to be false at the time he made them. Now, in terms of Stephen Kwabena Opuni, between November 2014 and November 2015, the charge says he abetted Saidu Agongo and Agriculture Ghana Limited to defraud Ghana COCOBOD of the sum of 289,314 CD72 pesos. Saidu Agongo's Agriculture Ghana Limited between October 2015 and March 2016, also with intent to defraud Ghana COCOBOD, obtained the consent of the COCOBOD to part with 98,935,974 cedis 50 pesos. Also on the particulars of the offense now, Dr. Stephen Kwabena Opuni, again on the 10th of October 2014, agreed to be influenced by an amount of 25,000 cedis from Saidu Agongo. And from what's happening in the court at the moment, they pleaded, both of them have pleaded not guilty. But there is a contention about the 25,000 cedis that he's charged to have received. We'll bring you some more details on this. And again, Saidu Agongo took possession of the sum. Well, we'll have to cross over quickly to the courts right now, where the Attorney General has been speaking to my colleague Joseph Akable. Let's do that now.
Which one of the lawyers for the defendant said that wasn't any issue? You got up and said it was a matter which could land you in prison for about 25 years. How long or how far do you think this case would run?
I'm not able to say how long it will run. The judge who is handling the matter is a Court of Appeal judge who sits as an additional court judge in the High Court. What he has done to give an indication is that he wants to hear this matter expeditiously. I think largely lawyers on both sides have cooperated. We went into chambers. It's been adjourned to the 11th of April, and we've taken 5 more dates in that month, with the understanding that when we have exhausted those dates, we will then come together and agree on further dates in May.
There have been concerns raised about this whole trial being about political witch hunting. You saw your colleagues in
You like that question? This is the second time you're asking me this question. You asked me in Joulu, you're asking again. I have told you that my simple response to that is that we have assessed our evidence and we have presented a case. Whoever says it's witch hunt is clearly entitled to that opinion. At the end of the trial, the judgment should be able to determine whether it is witch hunt or not.
Is the state ready to carry out its case? We saw in the NCA case it suffered an adjournment because of some issues.
The matter was not adjourned because the prosecution was not prepared to go on.
Of the case has been referred to the
I'm saying, let's put it in proper perspective. When you ask whether the prosecution is prepared to go on with its case, the matter in Bafuboni was not adjourned because the prosecution was not ready to go on. The prosecution actually had led evidence and had led its first accused as the first witness in the matter. It was when the lawyers for the accused persons asked for every document that we had in our possession, which we were opposed to, that the matter resulted in a referral. It went to the Supreme Court, not because the prosecution was not ready.
Would that be your position if it comes up in this trial?
I will not speculate.
Well, Madam, why not the special prosecutor handling this case?
Oh, I answered this question before. Ghana was on top of my head. They said that Gloria Kufu is nolly prosecuted lawyer and that she's waiting for the special prosecutor. I come to court and I have a problem with that. I should have left it to the special prosecutor. Certainly not. The special prosecutor has his mandate. It doesn't take away the mandate of the Attorney General as a prosecutor. I am doing this as my mandate under the Constitution, special prosecutor or not.
Madam, there's been issues about the special prosecutor and his office not being ready for over a month now. He was sworn into power about a month ago.
The special prosecutor has been sworn into power. There are administrative arrangements. You need a board in place. You need to get the logistics in place. So yes, 1 month. An office has been made available. There are issues of setting up the administrative structures before he can start anything. And he's in the process of doing that. What it is that once the governing board is in place, all these things are going to be done by that board. It will not be done because we truly want him to be independent of the Attorney General.
How soon would we
I will not speculate because it is not my mandate.
Madam, were you disappointed when your plea was not given, that you didn't want them to be granted bail?
I never said so. Where were you? Were you in court?
Yes, I was in court.
And I said I was opposed to bail.
So you had the Attorney General, Madam Gloria Kufu, engaging pressmen there. I mean, the case just ended a short while ago, and as you may be aware, the individuals who are currently before the court, there are 3 individuals who are before the court. The first has to do with Dr. Stephen Kwabena Opuni. He is the former COCOBOD CEO. The second individual being Seydou Agongo, a businessman who is also the managing director of Agricult Ghana Limited, as well as Agricult Limited itself. All 3 individuals today pleaded not guilty to all 27 charges leveled against the 3 of them. They've been granted bail, all 2 of them. They bail to the tune of 300,000 Ghana cedis. They are also required to deposit their passport to the office of the boss of the Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service. So as you can see, that is the Attorney General Gloria Kufu engaging some pressmen still. We expect that engagement to go, and in the short interaction that we had with her, she talked about the fact that the state is prepared to carry on with its case. She drew some parallels with the NCA case. You know that some aspect of the case has been referred to the Supreme Court for interpretation, and the concern that I raised with her was to the effect that in the event that issue comes up again, you recall the adjournment was occasioned by the need on whether they should be supplied with witness
Joseph, how about we hear what the AG is saying at the moment, and then we'll engage you a bit more on the details.
And the list of witnesses that are to appear before the court, providing that list to the defense team. But in this particular matter, I put that question to her, and her response was to the effect that she doesn't want to speculate since the matter is still before the court. The case has been on right from about 12:30 a.m. when proceedings commenced, first with the plea of the individuals that was taken by the court, after which the application for bail. Each lawyer argued about the willingness of their client to comply with the court processes. They had insisted that, since they were picked up by various investigative bodies, they had carried out the task of ensuring that they appear in court each time they are supposed to do so, and that is what they've done since the case started, and it was on that basis that the court opted to grant them the bail. What is interesting is that this particular case is being heard by an appeals court judge, Justice Honyeluga. He is sitting as an additional high court judge, and after going in that closed-door meeting, they have fixed a number of dates to have proceedings. We saw a similar thing happen in that particular NCA case where some dates were selected. Tuesdays and Thursdays were blocked for court business. We have been told that April 11 and some other dates have also been selected by the court in terms of the dates to hear this particular matter. You may well be aware, because we told you earlier that it has attracted the attention of party faithful. Quite a number of them have made it to the court premises. I'm quickly just turning around. This is the main entrance to the courtroom, but if you turn around to the other side, where you have the exit of the courtroom, I've just spotted one of the defense lawyers for that matter, Edujita Maklo. Let's get a bit closer and try and get a word from him quickly as to that. So let's get closer and let's hear from him. He's addressing the press as we speak.
2015, COCOBOD nankasa call any cocoa farmers,
So he's explaining as to the facts of the matter that was presented to the court. But earlier I was trying to point you to the other part of this particular structure here in terms of the numbers that have showed up. Right across the street, you can see quite a number of individuals who have come over to the court to support the two individuals that are currently standing trial before the court. So those are some supporters. What happened earlier in the morning was that quite a number of them had tried to come over to the compound of the court. In fact, in terms of the main courtroom itself, the officers who are stationed here at the court premises struggled to maintain the situation over there in terms of the situation in the courtroom, and they had to take some of the individuals out of the courtroom to make room for the other persons who had business in the courtroom. So it was given in terms of priority. If you don't have any business directly in terms of the matters affecting the court, you don't be allowed access to the courtroom. So quite a number of people made it here to the court premises to lend their support. Shortly, I'll be moving closer to engage some of the defense lawyers. They are engaging some reporters in the Akan dialect, and we'll move over quite shortly when they are done with that interaction to bring you the engagement in the English language to pick their thoughts in terms of what has transpired in court from the defense team. They made an application for bail. That application was granted by the court. As to whether that is satisfactory for them, they will be telling us that, and we'll get that understanding quite shortly. But we can expect the case to progress swiftly. I mean, full house. There was no space in the courtroom. We had lawyers who were connected to the case and those who were not connected to the case, all making it a point to come here to the courtroom. The guy is speaking tree. Fred, the guy is speaking tree.
It's certainly been an intense day there in court, so you can understand and expect some of these back and forth. But Joseph Akabley there with a summary of what happened in court. We'll be engaging him with some further questions so we can break it down so you can follow it from head to toe or from A to Z. But Joseph Akabley there trying to speak to some of the counsel for those who have been accused. Will find out what they're saying. Earlier on, he was speaking, explaining something in Chi. We'll get some more details on that. Well, let's go over to the courts now.
It is in his capacity as a chief executive of COCOBOD. And all they are saying is that the amounts they have mentioned were all contract sum that has been supplied by agriculture to COCOBOD. And this had been used. They have themselves said there have been 3 sets of contract between the people, the parties. As we speak, agriculture and COCOBOD are in arbitration. The same matter that has been sent today. And we believe that at the end of this trial, you will see that Dr. Opuni and Agongo, they did their best. Everything, procurement, money laundering they are talking about, for every procurement, you go through a process. There is a tender entry committee. Attorney General's representative, they sit on it, they approve. All this that is being done will fall flat, and we believe they should come and prove against us. And at the end of the day, instead of people condemning Dr. Opuni and Agongo, I'm sure they will pour shower of praises on us that we have served this nation and served it well. I believe there's a lot that has to be done. Let's look at it. Let's go slowly. You see the demeanor, all that they have said, 25,000 cedis that went to him. Somebody whose salary, it's even more than, is about triple that of what he said he has been bribed with. For all these 3-4 years he's been there, look at it, it doesn't really gel that somebody will bribe you with 25,000. So we believe that as we proceed the trial, we will give the information to the public. The public should be their own judge, and I know that the judge who the matter is before, everybody knows him. We respect him at the bar. He knows his law. He knows his everything. And if the law is applied and is done, at the end of the day, we will walk off, will be discharged.
We saw a number of party supporters come to throw their support behind the accused person. Are we to understand that legal practitioners who are close to the party will also be coming in to render their support to the legal team as well?
No. You see, you would see party people coming in because they feel and they know that it was during their administration. Dr. Opuni served them. He served the party, he served the nation. It is this time those who really understand and know the facts believe that the facts that are being presented are not the truth. It's factually inaccurate. That is why they are here to lend their support. You saw the people at the top echelon. You saw the people who came here because they know the facts. They have gone in. That's not to say that, excuse me, all the top echelon who came here could not reason or could not reach in between the lines and know the facts. Yes, if the courts at the end of the day they are able to prove that we have edge, it is criminal, I'm sure everybody is open-minded, would say yes, we did not have this fact. But the fact they have as of today, they believe that this will not stand, it will fall flat.
So you heard the lawyer Adaudu engaging pressmen on the situation in terms of what he makes of all that transpired in the courtroom there. He is a lawyer who, a private practitioner himself, is close to the National Democratic Congress, a member of that particular party whose appointees are currently standing trial in this particular matter in terms of some fertilizers that were sold by Agriculture Ghana Limited to COCOBOD. Concerns have been raised about whether it went through the right procedure in terms of handing that particular contract to the Public Procurement Authority for approval to be given for the purchase to be made. I'm sure for those who are doing the viewing, you can't wait to catch a glimpse of the two individuals who are standing trial before the court, but sorry to disappoint you, they may take a bit of time for them to come out of this particular exit. The reason being that after they had been granted bail to the tune of 300,000 cedis, they are also expected to deposit their passports at the CID headquarters and also expected to inform the CID boss anytime they intend to travel. So what is happening now is that they've started a process of meeting the bail conditions, because the concern by lawyer for Dr. Opuni, Samuel Kujo, was to the effect that it is past 2 p.m. and more often than not, when persons who have been granted bail fail to meet the bail conditions, sometimes they are kept in custody until they meet those conditions. So we had appealed to the court that they are allowed to start the process today. If they are unable to complete, they should be allowed to go home and come back subsequently to continue that process. So we understand that process has started in the court premises. They are engaging the registrar. They are getting the individuals who need to sign on their behalf and those who have to sign for themselves to put all those signatures on paper. And once all that process is concluded, we can expect the two individuals to come out of the courtroom. So this is the situation here at the Law Court Complex, where we've pitched camp since 8 a.m. To follow this matter keenly.
You're not the only one following this matter, Joseph. A lot of Ghanaians are following this matter as well, and they require a lot of breakdown. Joseph, if you can hear me, let me just engage you briefly on this. You've spoken about the facts of the matter and, of course, what has been meted out to them, self-recognizance bill, etc. Let's talk about their demeanor. Can you take us through their demeanor in court today? It appears that Joseph cannot hear me, but as and when we have him, we'll put that question there so we can find out. Since we're not seeing them, they can paint us a mental picture of how they look like. We've also been speaking to some of the NDC persons who were in court today. Phyllis Kwachefusi, former Deputy Information Minister there, Kofi Adams as well has been speaking to us. We'll bring you those interviews. But as we wait for Joseph Akablay to see if we can get the details about their demeanor in court, what happened in court in terms of the NDC members who thronged or who were in the court and their demeanor as well. Let's take a very quick look at the final bit of the information, the infographics that we're giving you about this particular case. Of course, we know that 2 people have been charged, Dr. Opuni and, of course, Mr. Seidu Agongo. We'll continue with the particulars of the offense as charged by the state as we go along. Seidu Agongo and Agriculture Ghana Limited were told manufactured fertilizer in commercial quantities, and that they did without registration. That's one of the charges against him. Seidu Agongo again and Agriculture Limited sold misbranded fertilizer to the Ghana Cocoa Board, and that, of course, is another offense that they're being charged with. So that probably ends the charges, the 27 charges that are brought against these 3 persons or 2 persons and an entity, Agongo, as a company. We're trying to bring you that interview. We're trying to bring you those interviews with the NDC operatives that we've spoken to, but these are live visuals coming to you from the court. You do know that quite a substantial amount of people thronged the court ostensibly to support Dr. Opuni. We've spoken to some of them who really did not know why they were there, don't even know who Dr. Opuni is. It appears that there is some sort of exchange going on with some of the security personnel and some of the supporters, if you like. We're not sure what is happening exactly, but our men are on the ground. Komla Adom there, stationed outside for us to get you all the details of what happens outside of the court, and Joseph Akable right in the heart of the court, listening to the proceedings and giving us updates as well. What we do know now is that the 2 who have been convicted have pleaded not guilty to all 27 charges, and they've been granted self-recognizance bail to the tune of 300,000 cedis. And it doesn't just come, it came with a no-flight order upon which they'll have to deposit their passports with the CID. Joseph Akable told us that they are on that, they're working on that process, and that is the reason why we probably haven't seen them come out. And the case, of course, has been adjourned to the following dates that I'm going to go through. We're looking at 11th of April, 16th of April, 17th of April, 24th of April, and 30th of April. And I believe that the 2 parties and their representatives will have to agree on these dates as to when they go back to court over this matter. You're still watching The Pulse with me, Gifty Ando Apia, and the very big story this afternoon is that the former CEO of the Ghana COCOBOD, Dr. Stephen Opuni, has pleaded not guilty to all 27 charges of causing financial loss to the state. He's been granted a self-recognizance bail to the tune of 300,000 cedis. Both he and Mr. Agongo, Saidu Agongo, will have to deposit their passports with the CID. Our men are on the ground. We'll be back with more. Please stay with us.